All right, everyone, we are going to start our sleeve. So congrats on making it this far. When you start, make sure that you have your larger hook. So my 4.5 millimeter is the forward pass hook. Make a slip knot on your hook and let's join anywhere like in the middle here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches. So I'll just join here. Why not? All right, so to join, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull that first loop through the last loop on your hook, like a slip stitch. Come on. All right, and this is going to be our first loop, our first stitch. That counts as a stitch, so you need to mark it. Because eventually we're going to keep moving this stitch marker up, right? And we need to know when we have reached our last row. Okay, so now just go ahead and start picking up stitches. Okay, I want to point this out. You will probably have like this really ugly, like large kind of stitch right there. So let's see what it looks like. There's this really nasty hole, right? So remember how we were kind of like fudging it? So I'm going to go through here, through this part, okay? And then let's see, I'm going to go through this stitch here. Just basically push it through. Let's see what that looks like. Push it through. So there's no hole. Good. Okay, skip this. Don't go into that stitch. But look, there's another really big gap. So this is actually part of your yoke, right? But let's go into this stitch here. That's part of your yoke. Why not? So we can avoid any kind of hole. Okay, that's not bad. All right, my stitch marker fell off there. Okay, so let's not pick up a loop there. Let's see what it looks like. Horrible hole, right? Let's not do that. So just immediately go into your next stitch. So now we have to start picking up all of these knit stitches around from our arm section of our yoke. So, okay, that's not terrible. Oh, it's really noisy. Okay. All right, good. So you can see that it's going to be kind of pulled together. That's pretty good. And if there's any kind of hole, you can always go back and like seam a hole together with like an extra piece of yarn. Okay, so go ahead and pick up all the stitches all the way around, and you're going to join your yarn like how we joined our yoke, right? And for your return pass, and then let's meet when you have reached your first-ish stitch, because we're going to have to do some decreases here and on the other side. Actually, let's take a look. So I picked up stitches all the way around, and this is the kind of armpit area on the other side, on the opposite side. So again, this is where we have this huge hole. So if you are encountering this, you don't want to pick up a loop right there. So look at your hole, and you can just kind of stick your yarn in right there into this like back stitch. I don't even really know what part that is. Oh, that's the first time we chained, I guess? I guess so. Anyway, let's pick it up. Okay, great. And then again, there's this hole, not very great. So go ahead and try to pick up a loop into this V here. Let's see. That left a big hole, so I'm gonna say no, don't do that. Let's try to pick it up here, like your next stitch. Okay. When we do the return pass, this hole should be closed, but if not, you can just go back and kind of like sew it up. Okay, and then just continue to pick up your stitches. All right, and I'll meet you when I have return pass and I'm at my first stitch. Okay, so I reached my first stitch for my second row, right? So we are actually going to decrease on this row, and when we decrease, we're going to decrease on the return pass. So go ahead and pick up your stitches, pick them up until like here, because this is where we are going to decrease. Sorry, I'm like going off screen. Okay, good. You can stop when you've picked up about this many. Now this can be a little tricky. So you're going to want to find the stitches that are like in your armpit area. You can see it's like right here where it kind of forms a little circle. Go ahead, and you want to find the middle ones. Go ahead and just put a stitch marker between those two because we are going to decrease there. And then also on the next two because we will decrease there as well. And now let's see how we can return pass and decrease. Okay, while we return pass, we have been doing the extended return pass, right? So we chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so you have to go slowly because when we decrease, we're not going to chain 1. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 stitches. Okay, let's do that one more time because our decrease is next. Yarn over and pull through all 2 stitches. Okay, cool. And now you can just continue to yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over, or chain 1 rather, and pull through 2. Okay, and then you're going to just do normal knit stitches and a normal extended return pass all the way around. But when you come into this corner over here, so when you have, let's see, like these 2 stitches here and these 2 stitches here, when you're ready to return pass, you need to put your stitch markers there and decrease. But go ahead, knit stitch all the way around, pause the video, and then let's meet up here. Okay, I finished picking up all my knit stitches and I placed my decrease markers in the corner. So now let's decrease. So I'm going to keep doing the extended return pass. Chain 1, pull through 2, chain 1, pull through 2. Very slowly, chain 1, pull through 2. Okay, I've reached my first decrease. So yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, I just did my decrease. Now, yikes. Let's take a look at how we're going to decrease in the next part. So now we're going to, in row 3, or round 3, we're going to decrease this decrease with this stitch. So let's see how that is. Let's pick up our stitches. Okay. Okay, now when you have a decrease, I'm going to take this off so you can see better. Okay, I just took that stitch marker off. So you're just going to work into it like a knit stitch, but there's 2 bars here, right? So you just have to go through those 2 bars and pull up a loop like a knit stitch. And so I want to decrease these 2 together, so I'm going to mark it. All right, and I think that should be good, but we will see. Okay, good. And then I want to decrease these 2 together. Okay, so this decrease is going to be exactly the same. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now remember this red stitch marker is just the first stitch of the round, so ignore that. Okay, let's continue to carefully return pass. Because I think I'm approaching almost there. I'm almost at that decrease. You see, it's these two together. So I'm gonna do it normal. And now I will yarn over, pull through all three because I'm at my green stitch marker and I have to decrease in the next one. So yarn over, pull through 3. All right, we finished all the decreases for this side. So now go ahead and continue to pick up, oh my gosh, pick up stitches all the way around, and let's see how we can decrease on the opposite side. Okay, I've come back to my other side, and this was where I decreased, right? So I took my stitch marker out and I am going to decrease in this decrease stitch plus the one to the right. And now let's knit stitch into that next stitch where we decreased. And let me take this out. Okay, so knit stitch into that next stitch where we decreased, and then knit stitch into the next stitch, and we're going to decrease there. Put those two together. All right, it's very close to the beginning. So again, I think you know what to do by now. So you're going to just decrease through here, and then you are finished decreasing. So once you are done decreasing, you're just going to continue to work all the way around, and you're going to just keep picking up knit stitches for the length of your arm. When you stop on your last row, we're still going to have to do a bind off. So that's why it's super important to keep moving this, because you know, like when you've completed a whole row, right? And then let's meet for when you have to do the bind off and the single crochet. We're going to single crochet 2 together as well. And one last tip. On your last row, make sure you work your tension a little tighter, because when we do the bind off, you don't want it to be holy and look weird. All right, see you then. All right, everyone, just one note. So I am on my last row of my sleeve. I can see that this is my first stitch right here. I'll move it up later, but just one note about your last row. So basically you want to make the last row very tight, like your tension should be tight because you don't want any holes. And then on the last row of your sleeve, to kind of tighten it up before we do any decreases, when you do the return pass, you're not going to do an extended return pass. You will do a normal one. So make sure you're on your first stitch and you know you're on your last row, and do a regular return pass, which is just yarn over and pull through 2 stitches. Yarn over, pull through 2 stitches, just like that. And when you do your last row, you're also going to want to be careful of when your last row is actually finished. So this is row 87 for my sleeve. So I need to make sure that I stop. So I want to make sure that I do a return pass all the way around my sleeve until this stitch, because this stitch will be the last stitch of my 87th row. And then we will have to do a bind off. So go ahead, finish your last row, and let's look at the bind off. All right, so here's my first stitch of my 87th row. So I'm going to just go ahead and do my return pass all the way over, my regular return pass. You'll notice that your sleeve got a little tighter. Okay. And this, let me turn my sleeve around here. This can be a little tricky because the tension can get a little weird, but we will fix it. So you're going to return pass all the way until that last stitch. Take out your Tunisian crochet hook and get your normal crochet hook, a 4.5 millimeter. Okay, turn this around so the right side is facing you. So this is our return pass yarn. This is our forward pass yarn. We're going to insert our hook into insert your hook and make sure the tension's nice and tight. And then you're just going to leave a really long tail for the return pass yarn and cut it. Oh, there we go. Okay. And here we are. So now we're going to keep our forward pass yarn as our working yarn now. So we're going to insert our hook into that first stitch of our last row, and make sure you bring your return pass yarn over and kind of just like crochet over it. There we go. We're going to crochet over this. Okay, and we're just going to make a single crochet. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And we did our first one. So you can mark that. I'm not going to mark it yet, but go ahead and move your stitch marker. And then for the bind off, we're just doing a single crochet in each knit stitch. So we're going to insert our hook like a knit stitch, and then get that yarn and work over it. And then just single crochet right across. Okay. So go ahead and continue to single crochet, bind off all the way across. Then when you reach your first stitch, you're going to slip stitch into the top, and then we're going to take a look at what else we can do.